All right. The road trip continues. LFOD Radio. We are we're just outside of Orlando, Florida right now. In the home studio of E-Turn.
Yeah, what's up?
What's happening?
Chilling, just tired from last night.
Yeah.
Crazy show, yeah.
That was wild. You were really getting after it.
Yeah.
There.
Thanks. I was trying. I always got to come with it when I'm opening up for Chesky because that dude comes with it. So.
Yeah. I had never seen him before, so shout out the whole Fake 4 crowd. Was that a pure Fake 4 bill?
Well, Seta, the first group, Wanchi, and then he had a couple of the other guys from Seta, their group. They're not on Fake 4, but they're affiliates for sure. Bluebirds on Fake 4, and Gregory Pepper's on Fake 4. So the rest of the bill, of course, Chesky is on Fake 4 and owns Fake 4. So yeah, the rest of the bill was Fake 4, but they're definitely Fake 4 fam. So
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely had a flow to it. So shout out
Good vibes.
The promoter as well, putting that together.
Definitely. And Doxa. Yeah, down here in Florida, learning all the players, all the things. So that was a hometown show for you. You're from Orlando? Yeah, I am. Usually people like born and raised. No, I was born in Oklahoma. But luckily my parents got me out of there before I was old enough to talk and get a country accent. But no, I grew up out here. I moved here when I was a baby. Only other place I lived was New York for a little bit, but this is my home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never met anyone from Oklahoma. You're the first.
I mean, from Oklahoma. My grandma is though. She got the country accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, that's Floridian to the core.
And you travel quite a bit because we met. So normally, or for the most part on this trip, it's been people that, were tagged or plugged into or something like that. But we met multiple times in New Hampshire and actually in Boston as well. Yeah. So how long have you been moving around like that?
The first tour I did was in 2013.
Okay.
With a group I was working with, called Beautiful Chorus at the time. And then soon after that, I dropped my first LP in 2013. And yeah, it was 2013. And then I did like my first solo music run. Then while I was working with my DJ at the time, SPS, and so 2013 is when I started touring, going hard at touring within the last few years. I would say a couple of years, just really making it my main thing and trying to get out there more and more.
Yeah, what's been bringing you up north?
Well, family. My boo's family lives up there in Nashua. But then, so started going out there for Christmas the last couple of years, and then I was like, all right, well, I should just make connections out here.
Yeah.
And then I discovered Rap Night. Shouts to those guys.
Rap Night.
Yeah. It's always so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think coming up in March, I'm going to be doing a New England run, and it's going to be my third or fourth time doing Rap Night, and it's always a blast. So, yeah. And I just notice there's a little a route there. New England's a good area to tour because it's everything's so close together. You got a bunch of cities all just chunked in one thing, and it's really cheap for me to fly up there from Florida.
Wicked cheap from Florida.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, cool, I can make this a thing.
Yeah, you can hit Rap Night, you can hit Portland after
Monday of the Mines. I'm gonna be doing that.
Are you going up to Vermont doing Third Thursdays or
no?
Like
I tried to reach out to one of those people. They didn't get back to me, so
I'll let Scott know.
Yeah,
he's good.
Call him out.
Scotty's a good dude.
I can't remember if that's.
You out there.
I think that's who I reached out to.
Anthill Collective.
I don't know.
You might have reached out to someone different.
I think Scotty sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Well,
Scotty.
Yeah.
Hit me back. I see your red message on Facebook.
Oh, that's not Scotty then. He wouldn't have done that.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it was someone else.
Right. So shout out to everyone from New Hampshire who understands, or New England who's understanding who we're talking about. But, yeah. So you're going up there, and Chesky, do you guys? So how does you're on the label, or they're putting out your music? How is that?
I'm on the label.
Do they manage your tour stuff too, or are you still indie in that?
I mean, the label is indie in general, so, you know, there are somewhat limited resources. The label is mainly a platform for artists that, you know, Chesky and the label believe in. And, you know, they help with getting the music out. And then, of course, like, with that comes the connections that are involved. And so that's really helped me out with touring. You know, Chesky's been able to help me, link me with a lot of people. He's the one that, well, actually it was ADM. And then Chesky, like, kind of gave the cosign for Rap Night. Told me about Rap Night. You know ADM?
Yep.
Yeah, he's
a legend.
Yeah, and he's, like, fan with all my people out here, Swam and them. Like, they've known each other for a long time. They used to tour together with Swam's group, Soliloquist of Sound, when ADM was part of Glue.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, we go way back with ADM. And then, of course, Chesky's based in New Haven, so it's just, like, all kind of worked out that... You know, his fam's up there. We got ADM up there. We got Fake 4 based out of Connecticut. But yeah, so they helped me with a platform and getting my music out and a lot of connections. I've been able to book more shows because of that, and even, you know, travel abroad and book more shows out there. But I still, like, handle a lot of my own. I handle my own booking for the most part. I'm trying to get some help. I got some players starting to come in. Hopefully, it's tough handling it all by yourself.
It's a lot of juggling.
It really is. And then you know, the never-ending struggle for artists, independent artists, is like, how do I even begin to be creative in the midst of all of that? Because it becomes a business if you're trying to do it full time, and you lose that space to be creative. And so I'm trying to find that balance right now, and really trying to get other people involved so that I can do that, spend more time doing that, being creative.
Are you still finding spaces to be creative, or are you...
I'm not gonna lie, recently it's been a struggle for me. I noticed that my most creative space is when I'm on the road, but then I don't have time to write. And it's always when the most creativity is flowing in my brain. So my goal next time is to be like, okay, can't get drunk every night. That's first of all.
Step one.
Yeah, step one. But, you know, so then making sure you get some decent sleep and waking up maybe like an hour or two early and just getting an hour of writing time in the morning. Because, I mean, if you do an hour of writing time every day on tour in the morning, you can get a lot done.
You're gonna come home with something.
Exactly. So that I'm trying to, like, make that a goal for these next couple runs. Like, all right, I need to wake up, set aside an hour in my schedule every day to try to be creative. Because, again, I notice that most of my creativity is, like, flowing when I'm on the road. And when I come home, I'm just like, I don't know, I just get the block. Some days, you know, I have some good days, but it's been rough recently.
Well, you pack a lot into your songs. Like, there's many, many words.
A lot of words.
So I can
Bad
see
words.
how... do you start out with a flow and then fill in the blanks, or do you start out with is it a word puzzle?
I think things have changed over the years a little bit. I've tried out different things recently. My thing has been finding, especially with the block, just like find the last word. What's the rhyme gonna be, and then I fill in the rest. Before, I would just kind of whatever. I didn't really have you usually get like a beat, start with the beat, of course, and then just whatever I'm thinking about, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll it is like a puzzle always anyway. I was like, oh, that doesn't quite work. And I want to add more words or more syllables, or I need to take out a syllable. It's always a puzzle for me. But recently how the start of my flow has been is like find the rhymes and then fill in the rest.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing.
You just gave me a wild flashback. I knew this dude who used to, I think he described it as like a sandwich. So he would come up with his like opening couplet and his like finishing couplet. Yeah. And then he would, in a different part of the page, write down every single word that rhymed like in between. And then he would like fill in the middle. And that was a wild way to do it to me. I've used pieces of that in the past. But
nice.
So Shout out to Chronic Tone. I was just in the kitchen. All right. So this does seem like there is a bit of a Florida New England connection that's kind of naturally taking place. Is there another? I have a few questions off that. I guess the first thing I would say is your sound. So my experience so far in Florida is that Latin music is running things down here.
There's a lot of Hispanics out here.
Latin music. Not as much of a like hip hop market that I've discovered.
Yeah, I would say maybe like not in South Florida. Depends where. But yeah, in Miami, definitely. I that's the vibe. And then the hip hop that is in Miami, it's not like a huge boom bap, indie scene. It's more of the trap, rap stuff. But Orlando has a really dope hip hop scene. It's just, you got to kind of dig a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard to get people to come down here because it's so out of the way. Yeah, so we're still digging for the support, and actually there was like the hip hop scene was banging in the 90s out here.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. Yeah, we had a lot of like weekly hip hop nights, breaking nights.
That's dope.
We have a lot of dope DJs out here, and the culture's there. It suffered for a little bit, but it's starting to like reemerge again, and we just have a lot of talent out here. So
you're starting to have more regular events where you guys can
there's a lot
congregate.
But there's a lot of events, almost too many events to the point where like and like not as many people come out anymore because Netflix and Facebook and people get
it's real. It's not funny. It's real though.
It's real. It's everywhere. I see it everywhere now that I'm touring more. It's everywhere. It's not just here, but I would say there's not a ton of money flowing into, like, Florida's minimum wage is pretty low. And I don't know what the unemployment rate is. I think last time I checked it was kind of high.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe a little better. I don't know. But, everyone thinks of Orlando, Disney World. There's money flowing through those corporations, but the people working for them is not. So it's not like we don't have, like, a ton of rich people out here. And especially like rich people going to hip hop shows.
Right.
So I think what it is like a lot of people are just working all the time. They're tired. By the time they get home, they're like, all right, Netflix, Facebook, I'm tired. So definitely we need to see some more support. But yeah.
But the artists here, you're finding, a community.
There are great artists in Florida. Like you saw Bluebird last night. He's Florida OG.
Okay.
In Fort Lauderdale. Astronautilus, have you heard of him?
I've seen him, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. He's from Jacksonville. We got a lot of dope artists. Rest in peace, Peyton Locke. Recently passed away. He's like an OG Florida legend who's done a lot of stuff.
I didn't know he was from there.
What's that dude's name? Edon.
Yep, Edon. He's from Boston.
Yeah, he's done stuff with him though, and Dylan. You know Dylan Moore?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's been doing his thing for a minute. He's from Jacksonville. Shouts to the Duval Cats. Willie Evans Jr. Florida's got a deep hip hop scene. It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have, so you're finding New England is, receptive to what you're doing. You're coming back.
I think so, yeah.
Are there other, like, pockets like that around the country? Like, you said you really enjoy doing rap night. Is there another scene in the country that you found?
I've done Texas. I got, like, a pretty good following in Texas, mainly Austin, San Antonio. Haven't really... It's funny, we were just talking about that with Chesky because they're going to be there in a couple days in Houston. I haven't played in Houston yet, but I definitely, have a little bit of done some runs. And that came from like doing South by Southwest, making connections out there. So Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's not too far from here.
Yeah, no.
It is, but it's not.
It is and it's not, yeah.
It's closer than to
crazy drive
for me, yeah.
Yeah. So the Southwest too, like starting to get more into the New Mexico scene a little bit. Yeah, working my way up.
Yeah, Launchpad, Albuquerque.
Yeah, I played there.
Yep.
Yeah, with my homie Defy. You know Defy?
I do not.
Yeah, you gotta link with him. Okay. He's the one that booked that show, but he's super dope. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're moving around, you're doing things, I guess the biggest thing probably is getting this balance, right? So were you I'm familiar with this album, with the art behind us. It's kind of in frame. Young World. Was that mostly written before you cranked up and got more into the tour lifestyle, I guess?
I was still pushing for it. Definitely there's been a shift, like I sped it up a little bit more trying to book the shows because I was like, all right, mainly because this year I'm like, all right, I've been doing this for a while. I need to make more things happen in 2020 or else I may need to reconsider what I'm doing because, I have a roof over my head and such, but I'm not, it's tough. You struggle as an artist and you're like, all right, how long can I do this for before I burn out?
Yeah.
So I'm like, 2020, I gotta move a little faster. And same with like last year, I was trying to move a little bit faster, especially after dropping my first album with Fake 4. But over the last 5 years, I've been trying to tour, definitely at least. And, so to answer your question, not necessarily, but it has sped up a little bit.
Okay.
Sped up a little bit more. I'm like, I got to get out there.
Yeah, it's tough to figure out how to remain true to yourself and also,
survive.
Keep this thing up there.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So you mentioned, or I think it says it in your profile there, you do voiceover work.
Yeah.
I guess as a way to pay some bills.
Yeah.
What type of situations are you getting into there?
So the first real voiceover gig I got, synchronistic. I just shouted Peyton Locke out. He recently passed away from cancer, and he was the one that got me my first gig because this chick Stacey Epps, who did some stuff with Doom, she's a singer. She reached out to him and was like, hey, I'm working with this, I guess, talent agency or something, and they're looking for a female rapper to do a commercial for Kmart.
Okay.
And he thought of me, and he hit me up, and I auditioned, and so did this chick, Desdemona, out of Minneapolis.
Okay.
Shouts to Desdemona. And she ended up getting, it was an on-screen gig, and they, flew her out to LA. She ended up getting it. And it worked out great. I joke around, I'm kind of glad. There's a lunch lady joint, lunch ladies rapping. It's a super funny commercial. But yeah, so I didn't get that, but then the lady was like, why don't you audition for some voiceover stuff? And I ended up getting a voiceover for one of their maybe Christmas commercials or something. And then they wanted me again, so had to keep auditioning, but yeah. I got, I think, 4 different Kmart gigs, and I was living off of that Kmart money for a good year or so. Nice. Getting them royalty checks.
Oh yeah, because you do get royalties on that.
Yeah, depending on if it's depending on what it is. Yeah. It was a union job, which is great. But the thing about voiceover is it's becoming more and more common to not be in the union, because then you can't necessarily accept outside work. Okay. Or I'm not exactly sure the rules, but a lot of people aren't just stuck in the union because a lot of companies are trying to get away with paying less. So you kind of just have to
shocking turn of events.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of now it's quantity instead of union. It's all right, just you gotta, if you're gonna do voiceover, you gotta kind of commit and just get mad gigs every week. If you get paid a few $100s a gig, a voiceover, do a few a week, you're doing okay. Okay. Yeah. And then a lot of times also the bigger companies are getting the older on-screen actors to do voiceover stuff, And they're like, I don't want to do the on-screen stuff anymore. I'm going to move over to voiceovers. But anyway, it's become a thing that I put a little bit of time into, and when people refer me, I'll pick up a few voiceover gigs here and there, and yeah. Are you
rapping all of them, or it's more reading?
It's just talking.
Talking, yeah.
Kmart was like, you need the urban voice in there.
Is that what you have? Are you the urban voice?
I'm the urban voice of Kmart. I'm one of the urban voices of Kmart.
Okay. That's so wild.
It's funny because I was in the studio. They brought me into a studio and they called in from Chicago to give me direction, in the studio. And there's like a table of people talking to me in my headphones in the studio in Chicago, but I was in Orlando.
Oh.
And he's like, get a little more street for me. Get a little more street cred or something like that. I was just like, bruh.
Get a little more street.
I need a little more street cred here, E-Turn.
So, I wasn't even going to ask this, but can we get a voiceover voice? Like, do you use your voice, or?
Oh, man. He's going to laugh on there. Blue light specials are back at Kmart, and they're just for members. Bam, bam. I got to do the music. No.
I can hear that. All right. Wow. So you're like on the loudspeakers in the store. Letting people know. That's what's up.
Well, no, it's
Shout out to Kmart, I guess.
Yeah. Like I'll show you some commercials after we get done.
Okay. That's funny. Like another thing. I mean, my buddy Luttrell up there, he did the like Cheerios commercial.
Nice.
And, like, artists don't think, or not all artists, but it's you can use your voice in so many more ways than to rap. And there's a lot of
You start to get resourceful once you realize, you're not making as much money doing the rap thing. And also another thing, obviously, I'm trying to get into is licensing your music. Mm-hmm. That's a way it needs to be, if you're going to do it seriously, your music, you got to kind of have that there too.
Right.
Because you'll, passive income, you'll have royalty checks coming in. Obviously, a lot of, record sales are kind of a thing of the past unless you're at a show and you're buying a CD or a record. It's all streaming, and we don't get shit for streaming. So It's like, oh, am I allowed to curse? I forgot.
We're gonna clear it up.
You're gonna edit. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you're fine.
Okay.
Don't
forcefully
go on a tirade or something, unless you're like really passionate about something. Record. It's interesting. We can have like a much longer. That discussion is days and weeks and months of talking. I think the collectors are maybe pushing it back a bit.
Yeah.
I think you're starting to feel a change, but I also strongly believe that people, and you've mentioned Netflix a few times, people almost feel entitled to be entertained right now. And
because there's so much content.
It's become like a utility more than a like a luxury or a good or something extra. It's like turning on a light. You expect to be able to turn on some music, and that's what you're paying for, is the ability to turn on some music. Hi, Kitty. Hello. This is Rhymes. Hi, Rhymes.
Rhyme. Come on,
all right,
bro.
Kitty. It's always, they know who doesn't want the cat on their lap, and they
Get
do
down,
that
Rhymey.
pretty consistently.
Well, there's the cameo he was waiting for.
Happen. A lot of attention. So the other question I did have was the first thing it says in your bio.
Yes.
Iranian MC. Iranian American MC.
Rhymey, no, don't jump on him again. Oh my gosh. Rhyme. Oh, goodness.
We can do the rest of it with the kitty if you want.
Okay.
This is what's going on.
Okay. This is what's happening. Lay down.
Get comfortable. Just make it as weird as you can, kitty.
The thing is, when he hears noise, then he's going to jump off and scratch me. And dude, go out. Feed him or something. Okay, anyway, Iranian. Sorry, guys.
Iranian American MC. How much, obviously, because that's the first thing you say, that's very important to you.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a bit about how that, affects expresses itself through your music?
Yeah. I think that it's important to mention with a lot of things that are going on socially. The biggest thing that comes in mind is like being, the parallels of being a woman in hip hop, being a woman in the Middle East, being a woman in general in the world, the parallels of oppression and just the history and the fact that I feel like I'm somewhat of a symbol of like, I don't want to be, a lot of times this is historically true. We try to deny that this is a thing, but it's a thing. Like last night, I can prove it because last night someone comes up to me and was like, the first thing he said to me was, I effing hate female rappers. And I was just like, I was like, what? Like, why would you? And people think that because they're going to follow up with, but you're amazing.
Yeah.
That I'm okay with you saying that. And I'm not.
Yeah.
But I get it, though, because I didn't grow up having a bunch of like, my favorite MCs are not necessarily female. Bahamadia, she's one of my tops, but she's not my top MC.
Yeah.
Growing up, I get it. But also, like, we need to shift that. And I feel like I'm kind of somewhat of a symbol for that because my thing has always been like, nah, I'm not good, like, for a girl. I'm not good for a female. Like, I will out rap a dude. Like, and so that's my thing is we need to shift the standard for women in general. Like, there's a lot of breaking down and rewiring that needs to happen amongst not only men but women as well, and how we think about ourselves and how we allow the fact that we are women to let us be kind of lazy in a way of like, well, I'm gonna get props because I'm a girl and I can kind of.
And the bar's low because that guy hates women rappers.
The bar is low, you know. So I don't want that. I don't want that to be the thing anymore. So I'm trying to like be kind of a piece in the movement of that, of like shifting the standard for women in hip hop.
I appreciate that.
Right.
It's interesting though. The bar is both low and high. Like if you're a good MC, there's dudes who are like, "Wow, I usually like hate women, but like, I don't hate you."
That's awful.
And then but then at the same time, you have to prove yourself in ways that a male MC doesn't. Have to.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's great. It's a crazy world out there.
We're having I try to. They're just MCs. Like some people embrace. I am a female MC. I try to. You're an MC.
I mean, I embrace that side too. I'm not saying like, I'm not crazy. Like, don't call me a femc. Some women don't like, and I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. I'm fine with you acknowledging it because it does empower. Acknowledge it, but it doesn't. Again, the standard needs to shift, and there's things that need to change and ways we think that need to be rewired. But it's shifting.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm glad. We've definitely been feeling it. It seems like it's happening nationally at this point. So, as I retrace our steps. So we got to, being a woman in hip hop from the Iranian American thing. So you do see
I
parallels between. That's what I was trying to grab it. I was like, how did we? So you do see parallels between those two experiences.
Yeah, and I also just think it's important to mention your.
No.
Raimi, come here.
We're good. We're good. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to okay, let's see if he'll sit.
He just doesn't know what or why we're sitting like this.
He's like, what's happening? Okay, good boy. Okay. Good boy. So I just think it's also important to talk about your roots. And it's also like a uniqueness thing too. Like there's not a lot of Iranian rappers really out there. And there are, but not that people know of, Iranian American rappers, MCs, especially not women. So I'm like, that's how I grew up. I'm only half Iranian. My mom's side, they're American. She's from Cali, but we're like native and Hispanic on my mom's side. Okay. But I grew up more with the Iranian culture. My dad's from Tehran. He came here during the revolution, and so I just think it's an important aspect about my upbringing. Yeah. It's telling about my life as well as There's not a lot of us out there, so I gotta support that.
I don't meet too many Iranians. And I think. So have you been back? Have you visited?
I've never been to Iran, actually. I still have my aunt and uncle out there, but I've never been there. So I need to make that happen soon.
It's a beautiful country, from what I know.
From what I've seen, what I know as well.
Seems quite beautiful.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, I'm not going to Iran. Well, I know there's some recent things that happened, but it's actually
they've been the big enemy that they've been propping up for decades now.
Yeah. But there's I remember seeing this video, a traveling blogger put out, people Or like I don't want to go. You don't think of Iran as being like, that's where I want to go vacation as an American, because of course they put stuff in your head, but it's actually gorgeous. And he's like, the Iranian people are so nice. Mm-hmm. I need to get out there.
I think hopefully there's a distinction. I know they don't, love our government because we intervene in all sorts of things over there, but I think there's an understanding that the people are not the government.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going through a very similar situation.
Yeah, absolutely. The regime.
Yeah. If you go on YouTube and just type in like drone, there's some crazy drone footage of like people just flying through the mountains there, and like it's lush and like it's beautiful. Just really seems really beautiful.
Oh, and the architecture, most of the buildings, of course, there's a lot of mosques, are just like mind-blowing art within the buildings. It's crazy.
I mean, you gotta go before I do the only other Iranian I guess man I know, he was a teacher I had, and he like straight up wasn't allowed back because of comments he made, through his education. So your music is like not super like overtly politically charged though.
Yeah, I try to find
not blunt with it. Besides the one song,
balance. I also don't want to act like I know a lot about something that I don't, because I'm not big into politics. I'm, starting to try to become a little bit more aware. I'd say they're definitely like socially charged, but more, it's a feeling and like what I experience around me, but I'm not necessarily like, spitting hard facts at people like this is what it is. I don't know. It's all, your music is just all a process of, it follows the journey of like who you are as a person, like I'm growing in ways, and I'm sure my music will change over time, and it has already. But yeah, not a big politics person. Yeah. But I am hoping for some change, so I'm trying to get a little bit more involved, at least just to be versed, understand, be able to have the conversation. I've kind of just never wanted to get involved in it. It's just like, I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But at the same time, like, you do need to be, like, again, be versed in it so that you can have these conversations and make change. Like, in order to make change, you got to know what's going on and stuff. So it's kind of a constant battle where I'm like, I don't want to feed that energy, but I do want to know what's going on. So,
well, the thing about being an artist is you are tapped into how you're feeling, how people are feeling. And it'll come out whether you know the details or not. But I think you're probably more, I've learned recently how the spectrum of political awareness is much different than you think. Like, I consider myself politically relatively uninformed, but then I'll talk to people and they're like, no, you actually like seem to know everything we're talking about. Damn, because I feel like I'm not paying enough attention.
I think that's kind of how I feel.
And so you probably are paying, there's a lot of people who are really not just engaging on any level.
Right.
So, but it's a journey, that's a personal journey as well. Like,
for sure.
So we've talked about a lot of things. One thing we haven't talked about, you're on LFOD radio. That stands for Live Free or Die. What does Live Free or Die mean to you?
Live free or die. Well, off rip, when you say that, the thought stream that's happening is that, you gotta live the life that you like to live, and be, happy. Find what, brings you happiness, or else maybe you're not physically dying, but you're kind of dying inside. Mm-hmm. You're not really living. You can be living physically, but are you really living? And that's kind of the first thought that came up when you said that. It's just like, you got to be living how you want to live, living your passion, doing things that empower you and make you feel good, or you dead. You ain't really alive.
Dead.
And that's why I do what I do, right? Yeah. It's not easy, but do you want to, be on your deathbed like, oh man, I worked so hard at that tax company for so many years, and so glad I get to be buried with my money. So it's not all about money. I mean, money is power to an extent, but it's also like, how are you going to spend your time on this earth? You know, how many people are you going to impact, and how are you going to feel on your deathbed? Like, did I do things I wanted to do, or did I just live in fear my whole life? And I'm just not willing to do that. And it's tough because, especially with my background, like my dad's, you know, coming over from this other country, and he's like, I want my daughter to be successful. And he's been supportive on my journey with music, but also very worried for me, which most parents are of artists. They're like, what are you doing with your life, you know? Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, I can become a doctor. I mean, you're going to be, you know, fine. Just go to school for whatever and you be straight. Yeah. He wants me to be okay, and I get it. But it's also like, you got to understand that I've decided already. Like, things can change, but I've decided already. I will never be willing to live a life where I'm miserable. Like, working is such a huge part of our lives. Like, what, 40 hours a week is the regular? You can spend 40 minimum. I'm gonna spend 40 hours of my week doing something that makes me miserable. Nah, right. I'm good, fam. Like, nah. Right. And so I try to make my dad understand that. Yeah. But yeah,
he'll get it.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say the deathbed thing. I had a conversation with someone last year that really stuck with me. He was saying, we were talking about, you know, social games and comparisons, and you can never win them because someone's always going to push that high score a little higher. And he's like, the only game I'm playing, he's like, is like deathbed smile is what he called it. And he was like, it's the only thing you can win. It's the only thing that matters. He's like, when you're there, do you look back and smile and say, like, I'm glad I spent my time doing those things. So he's like, I'm only doing things that when I think ahead, I'm like, I'm going to be happy. Like, when I'm dying, I will look back and be like, I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
He explained it much more eloquently
but
than
I mean,
me, but I was
get
like,
it.
damn, all right, man. Like, wow.
It's real.
Like, I get you now, you know?
That's real.
So we have two things. Question from Chesky.
Oh yeah.
What's the strangest influence that people would be shocked to hear?
Dang, I should have thought about this one.
You had like
I had a whole night. When I heard it, I was like, oh, that'll be easy. But I'm just like, strangest? Because like I have some Iranian influences that if people heard the music, they'd be like, okay, well. But I mean, like, Iranian singer Hayedeh, she passed away untimely, like when she was in her 40s, but she, to me, is like one of the best singers ever, and definitely like the best Iranian singer. So good. But I'm Iranian, so I don't know if that's necessarily strange.
That's a gem, though. We can...
Weird Al Yank? No, I'm kidding. Yeah. No, he's not one of my inspirations.
Amish Paradise just really, like, put you on
that's what
journey.
got me into hip-hop.
Okay.
Snap, there's one. Oh, okay, well, this one's kind of known, though, but Stevie Nicks.
Okay.
It's definitely not, like, my style of music.
Yeah.
But my mom I grew up with my mom listening to Fleetwood Mac records and stuff, so, like... and I love her voice, and it's like some people like hate her voice, and then some people love her voice. So Stevie Nicks, that's like I think a kind of an obscure one.
Yeah.
I Bob Seger. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Turn the page every morning. That's why, because I usually don't get too into the influence question, but I appreciate you answering it. There's a whole backstory to that.
There is a backstory.
You guys will never know.
Are you going to tell the backstory?
No, you'll never know. That'll be on, someday when they interview me about this experience.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it years from now. So, yeah, we'll get into that some other day. The backstory. When we make this into a movie or something.
That's good.
It does sound good, right? Anyway, before I get in my car and drive to Pensacola to see DJ Saucy Rossi, Rap Night folks will know what's going on with that. shout out to DJ Myth too.
Yeah, shouts to Myth.
Is there anything you want to talk about that we did not?
No, I mean, I feel like we covered some good ground. Got some tours coming up, doing the New England run. Be going back out to Europe to do a run. Gonna be performing in cities that I've never even heard of in the Czech Republic and Slovakia.
Yeah.
Excited about that. Just like, check in with me on the social medias, Instagram, eTurn Music. And if you like what you hear, share away, because I'm starting to get tired. I mean, the journey's just starting, really. It's like that's how it is, like once you're 10 years in, like around 10 years in of really doing it, that's when you're just like, all right, now maybe some stuff's going to start happening.
Right.
So you better get re-energized. But yeah, I appreciate any like shares and likes and all that good stuff. Trying to get out there.
Share, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
All that. Well, thank you very much. This was dope. I appreciate you letting me into your home.
Of course.
To do this and all the hospitality in Florida. And
anytime. Come back.
Best, safe travels and all that. And I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Likewise, yes.
And shout out to everyone back home tuned in. We'll be back with more soon, I'm sure. I wasn't gonna interview Ross, but maybe we'll get a little cameo.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a little thing. See what he's been up to. Tune into LFOD Radio.
Peace.